Hello, everyone. My name is David, and I want to tell you a story that happened with my friend. Let's start the story. They told me we only answer to our real parents, so I changed the locks, pulled every privilege tied to my name, and told their dad he needed to pick them up that night. Nobody argued. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Reddit Visuals. I used to believe that patience, consistency, and kindness could win over anyone, especially kids. I thought if you showed up the right way, even reluctant stepchildren would come around. I was wrong, hard. This is the story of when I stopped being the pushover and started enforcing real boundaries, and why sometimes the most loving thing you can do is make consequences mean something. A quick intro. I'm Ryan, 42. I've been married to Maya for 3 years. When we married, we blended our families. I have 2 kids from my previous marriage, Ava, 10, and Jonah. Maya brought 2 kids of her own, Liam, 16, and Zoe, 14. Liam and Zoe see their dad, Ben, every other weekend. He lives about 20 minutes away. From day one, I tried to be the stepdad I'd hoped someone would be to me. I included Liam and Zoe in family nights, planned vacations with them, asked their opinions on house rules. I paid for their school supplies, helped cover sports fees, drove them to practices just like I did for Ava and Jonah. I didn't want them to feel excluded. I wanted family. Respect, though, can't be ordered or bought. It has to be earned on both sides. The first red flag arrived about 6 months after we moved under one roof. I asked Liam to carry groceries in from the car, 5 bags, nothing dramatic. He looked me dead in the eye and said, "You're not my dad. I don't have to listen to you." Maya heard him and told him to help, which he did, but with the kind of attitude that makes you notice. The work was done because his mom said so, not because he respected me. I told myself to be patient. He's adjusting, I thought. Blended families take time, but time didn't fix it. It normalized it. Liam and Zoe developed selective hearing. If Maya asked, they obeyed immediately. If I asked, they acted like I hadn't spoken. Liam would theatrically ask Maya if it was okay to try the spaghetti I'd cooked. Zoe left clothes, wrappers, art supplies everywhere, and when I asked her to clean up, she would say, "My mom didn't tell me." Jonah watched it and began to wonder why different rules applied to the same house. The small slights translated into bigger cruelties. One Thursday, I came home from work to Jonah in his room sobbing. He had a model airplane, and the 2 of us had built it together, and it was broken. The older kids had been playing in the living room. I found Liam lounging with headphones on, playing a game like nothing happened. "Liam, what did you do with Jonah's airplane?" I asked. He didn't pause. "I don't know what you're talking about." "You threw it against the wall because he wouldn't give you his headset," Jonah said through tears. Liam's expression was pure sneer. "Your dad can buy you a new one. He's useless anyway." Something in me didn't explode into anger. It cooled into a pragmatic clarity. This kid had told me plainly where I stood in his life: invisible, optional, replaceable. Not only that, he'd hurt my son and dismissed it. I could have yelled. I could have pleaded. Instead, I did something I'd been thinking about for weeks. I went to my study, opened my laptop, and made a list. Everything in the house in my name or paid for by me. Mortgage, utilities, internet, cable, family cell plan, which included Liam and Zoe's phones, the car insurance covering Maya's car, streaming accounts, the gaming console, the gym membership, school fees I'd paid. One by one, I started calling. I removed Liam and Zoe from the family phone plan that night. I scheduled the cable for disconnection. I changed the streaming passwords. I set the internet to be shut off the next day unless someone called me. I didn't touch the title on the house. That was a legal thing and not my aim. But I stripped away everything they treated as automatic because it had come from me. Maya found me late that night, pale, tapping through accounts. "Ryan, what are you doing?" she asked. "I'm removing Liam and Zoe from anything that's tied to my name," I said, not looking up. "Their phones are off the plan. I'm canceling the cable and changing streaming passwords. If kids choose to say I don't exist to them, I don't exist as their provider either." Her face went white. "You can't be serious." "You heard him say it," I said. "He said I wasn't his parent." "If I'm not his parent, I'm not responsible for him, not financially. That's the consequence for refusing any responsibility or respect." She started to protest about how their kids, about how Ben would be upset, about how this would traumatize them. I listened and then I explained calmly. Ava and Jonah are kids too, but they listen, they help. They don't expect exceptions because of blood. There's a difference between loving someone and letting them use you as a doormat. Liam is 16, he drives, he works. He can understand consequences. The next afternoon I packed Liam and Zoe's things. Clothes, chargers, the console controller they'd been hogging, shoes. Everything I could identify as theirs. I changed the locks and had new keys made for Maya, Ava, Jonah, and myself. When Maya, Liam, and Zoe arrived and couldn't get in, they called. "Ryan, open the door," Maya said. "I changed the locks," I answered. "Their stuff is packed. I'll drop it at Ben's tonight. They're not coming back into this house until they can treat everyone here, adult or child, and with basic respect." Silence crackled for a long beat. Then from the passenger seat, Liam said, "You can't kick us out." "I'm not kicking you out because you're Maya's kids," I said. "I'm removing you because you told me I wasn't your parent and you refused to accept any authority here. Authority comes with responsibility. No authority means no responsibility." Maya called Ben. He arrived within the hour. Ben looked at me, then at his kids. "This seems extreme over teenage attitude," he said at first. "Would you be okay if your son told you he didn't have to listen to you?" I asked. Ben was quiet. "No," he admitted. "I'd want to teach him a lesson." "Then this is that lesson," I told him. "I'm not trying to punish the kids for the kids' sake. I'm teaching that disrespect has a price. If someone says they don't recognize my role, they don't get the perks I provide." We loaded their bags into Ben's car. Zoe looked like she'd been slapped. Liam's bravado dimmed into uncertainty. Ben drove them away. That night, Maya accused me of being the bad guy. We argued. She said I'd been cruel, that I'd made a rash decision, that I'd chosen the path of least empathy. I said I'd thought hard before doing it. I told her I loved her and I wasn't giving up on her kids. I just wouldn't be the bank and the butt of disrespect at the same time. It took time, talking, and patience, but I held my ground. Almost overnight, the house shifted. The toxic tension I'd been wearing like a second skin evaporated. Ava and Jonah relaxed. They did homework without being told. They weren't constantly policing themselves to avoid being picked on. Small things mattered. Jonah started leaving the kitchen no longer on edge. Ava laughed again while we did family game night. A respect baseline had been restored. After about a week, Ben called. "They've been asking to come back," he said. "They've been quieter. Liam's been different. He's apologized to me about the airplane." "Do you want them back?" I asked. "We both talked," Ben replied. "They missed home. I think they learned something." Maya and I talked and agreed to let them return, but with clear rules. I made them sit down the day they came back. Not a big reunion, just a meeting. No shouting, just a simple list of expectations. I said, "I don't expect you to call me Dad if you, can't. I just expect you to treat me in this household like adults. Treat other adults. You will follow the house rules. Be accountable for your actions, and apologize when you hurt someone. If you can do that, you're welcome here. If not, you'll need to stay with Ben until you can." Liam looked at me and for the first time without the snarl, said, "I'm sorry about the airplane. It was messed up." Zoe nodded and said she didn't realize how much we did for everyone until it was gone. It wasn't overnight perfection. There were still tense moments. Old habits flared occasionally, but the pattern had shifted. 6 months later, things had meaningfully changed. Liam came to me instead of waiting for Maya when he was struggling with a college form. He sat down to talk about a part-time job and asked for my opinion. Zoe began to say thank you when I drove her to soccer practice. The real test came a year later when Liam wanted to go to a concert with friends. He asked both of us together. When I raised safety concerns and suggested a compromise, he didn't dismiss me, he answered thoughtfully. We adjusted the plan and he went out with our approval. That's when I felt we'd actually become a blended family. Ben and I ended up with a better relationship than I'd expected. He respected that I set a boundary and accepted that his kids needed to learn consequences. Maya and I got stronger because she saw I wasn't willing to be a doormat and also wasn't willing to cut kids out entirely. I fought for a family built on mutual respect, not one-sided obligation. So, was I wrong to change the locks and pull the plug on the perks? Some will say yes, that I was too harsh. Others will say no, that I gave kids an important lesson about respect and responsibility. My take, sometimes the kindest, bravest thing you can do is make space for consequences. Letting entitlement slide only rewards the behavior. If you're in a blended family or thinking about one, set expectations early. Be consistent and don't confuse being loving with being a doormat. Document things when you have to, and be ready to enforce boundaries. Love doesn't mean permissiveness. It often means holding the line. What do you think? Did I overreact or did I do what a parent needed to do? Let me know in the comments. If you like the story, hit like and subscribe to Reddit Visuals. We're building a community where respect matters and consequences are real. Thanks for listening.